If you're reading the manga, you know that Demon Fyodor is not dead. How? We'll get into that later, but first, let's gather around, hold hands, and pray that our favorite characters won't die, because things are not looking so good for them. Let's be honest, this scene was heartbreaking, and realizing that he died for no good reason is just devastating. But you know what's even worse? The fact that Fyodor is now using him as a tool. If you don't want spoilers, feel free to skip this video because I'm going to talk about how I'm going to jump off a bridge if anything happened to my favorite characters, along with talking about manga chapter 114 to the recent 117. After this sad scene, many people realize how Fyodor's ability worked. Dazai rolling on the floor and panicking makes so much sense now. Anyways, we see Brahm's face stretching out and then him transforming into the new Fyodor. Following this unexpected twist, Fyodor stabbed Fukuchi with two swords, making him a tripolar singularity, right in front of Teruko and Fukuzawa, while Rambo warns them to prevent it from happening. After his transformation, Teruko takes a chance to attack Fyodor, but Fukuchi gets in her way, and when she sees her captain, she calls up to him, only for him to strike her on the head. In an instant, she melts away like a soap, and Fukuchi breathes out bubbles like a dishwasher. Wow. I have no idea what this means and I'm as confused as everyone. But we've seen enough tragedies to know that they make up for great memes. For now, memes are the only way for us to go. There's only one member of Hunting Dog left, Techo. However, I'm pretty sure that he has no idea that his team had been wiped off from the face of the earth. Teruko is dead, I'll miss her. She was a young, brave, and a very strong character. Next, we see Fukushi transforming further into a weapon that looks awfully similar to a helicopter or a fidget spinner of death. And then he goes after Kunikida and Tanizaki. What name do you think suits him the best, a helicopter or a fidget spinner? As I said, the only way to deal with this shock is by creating and sharing memes. So here's the one that made me smile through blurry vision, especially after the recent chapter. Honestly, we all have seen enemy villains scheme behind the scenes, leaving small hints that we might miss if we're not paying close attention. But no one saw Fyodor's plan coming. He faked a prophecy about a world war, a lie that drove people to commit terrible act to prevent it, a lie that made Fukuzawa lose his best friend. Did Dazai saw it coming? Did Rompo knew anything about it? I need answers. Back then, there was a little part of me that hoped Fyodor was still alive. But now I want to cut that part out of my heart because what the actual hell? Atsushi saw the helicopter from afar and rushed toward the flares of backup that Kunikida had fired in front of the deadly helicopter. He runs toward it but is a bit too late because Fukichi had already stabbed him. Kunikida asked Tanizaki to use his ability Light Snow and run away, but he's in shock and doesn't quite listen. So Atsushi takes Tanizaki and flees. Kunikida says his last words, "Even if I die, my ideals will live on," and then disappears into bubbles. Atsushi let go of Tanizaki, and by the end, we see that Fukichi is right above them with a sword pointing at Tanizaki's ginger head. Honestly speaking, Tanizaki is an okay character. I would definitely trade his death for Kunikida's in a heartbeat. I don't want Kunikida to die. He's such a great character. I want Asagiri to bring his characters back in future chapters. Pull a stunt like he did with Dazai's death, something like what happened in chapter 109 or 101. It would be so sad to watch the anime without Dazai annoying Kunikida, and who else will be the next president of Armed Detective Agency if not him? Let's just hope Asagiri don't get any inspiration from a certain writer and instead gives us the backstory of Fyodor. Because we need answers, like how old is he, what's his motive, and how ancient is he? Because so far we only know he's alive because of his ability, crime, and punishment. Few chapters back, we saw how Sigma's ability let him exchange information with anyone he touches. So when he touches Fyodor, he was overwhelmed by Fyodor's ancient memories. Sigma saw Fyodor's execution centuries ago. As Fyodor died, his blood spilled on the executioner, who then writhed in agony and was fully taken over by Fyodor. This supports Dazai's theory that Fyodor's ability activates when he is killed, not through touch. As Fyodor said before, in Dead Apple, crime and punishment are close friends. Punishment can't happen without a crime. So the vampire knight who stabbed Fyodor did a crime, and then the knight got tied to Fyodor's place and died instead, is the punishment. Again in chapter 104, Dazai and Chuya discover that the vampire plotting the helicopter didn't kill Fyodor on his own will. It was Bram Stoker, the undead king, who planned to kill Fyodor. This means that Fyodor came back to life in Bram's body. So basically, his ability allows him to take over his murderer, making him his new vessel. This means he can potentially use all of their abilities. But here's something that my big brain didn't quite get. If the pilot killed Fyodor, he should have died in Fyodor's place, and Fyodor should have turned into him. Or does the intentions count? It could be because he was a Brahms puppet, but even if he was, who was this guy who had died in Fyodor's place? Maybe I'm just not getting it right. Do tell me if you understand him properly. Now we have to wonder how our anemic villain can be stopped, whether he can only die of old age, or if someone like Dazai, who can nullify abilities, can defeat him. Maybe someone like Rompo will defeat him, because Dazai did call Rompo the agency's strongest man and the one who transcends all ability users. However, that's a long shot. For now, we just have to wonder how they can possibly outrun a mutant helicopter, but with Octagava on their side, I'm really hopeful they can pull it off. That's it for now. Do tell me your thoughts, take care, and goodbye.
I don't really wanna hurt you, but I can't control the pain. If you're sticking by my side, maybe we could be okay. Okay, maybe you could be the change.